members or the participants because
have a broader perspective on the concept of justice, we thought to blend the topic and widen our horizon by incorporating deliberations on social justice. So, what is social justice and why it matters? Social justice is a concept which is a step ahead against the notion of traditional justice, where in the traditional justice we only see that law should be equally applied. But in the context of social justice, it is a phenomena in which everybody aspires to achieve what they wish for, irrespective of their background, from whatever background they come. It is even against the notions of cosmic justice. Uh, Probably even the cosmos can discriminate against you by doing something. But the notion of social justice ensures that the individual and the group both uh, get due recognition and dignity, and lead a life which is fully dignified one. What could be the probable principles of social justice? So it could be equity, human rights, right to access. These are the broader contents of social justice. Principles, human rights, and the notion of notion where diversity is being respected and everybody is given equal opportunity to prosper. What could be the challenges in the social justice, which we had discussed in our previous sessions, and we would like to listen from our great speakers. Uh, the challenges of the social justice is that the individual or the group who are victim are demanding justice from the society itself. So even sometimes there might be a legislation in their favor, but it is the ultimate respect in the eyes of law, in the eyes of society which we aspire for, and that is also incorporated in our Indian Constitution. If we see the preamble, it says justice, and the first and the most important subsection was social justice, even before economic and political justice. So that is the relevance of the topic. So I will not take further any time, and would like that uh, Professor Preeti Saxena now to introduce the guest.
Thank you, sir, for broadly highlighting in a very crisp way the idea of social justice. Now, I would like to welcome Professor Preeti Saxena, Director, Center for Postgraduate Legal Studies, to introduce our enriching guest for the event.
Sonali. So first of all, I once again welcome our guest, chief guest, Professor Dilip Ukeji and Professor Shruti Bedi. So I would like to introduce our guests. So uh, they are the persons who need no introduction, but still, this is just the tradition that we have to, and that's why first the chief guest for this session, Professor Dilip Uke. As we all know that Professor Dilip Uke is the Vice Chancellor of Maharashtra National Law University, Mumbai. And before joining the MNLU Mumbai, he served as the Pro Vice Chancellor and briefly as the Acting Vice Chancellor of SRTM University, Nanded, Maharashtra. Professor Uke served as professor and head of the department at the Department of Law, Pune University. He has also served on national bodies like UGC, NAC, UPSC, State Public Service Commissions, various states, UP, Uttarakhand, etc., including selections of on various positions in the civil services and judiciary. He is also a nominated member of the UGC MHRD panel of experts about institution of eminence. In the past, he was appointed as the visiting research fellow by New South Wales University, Sydney, Australia, and awarded UGC fellowship to visit France. As an invited speaker, he has spoken at numerous international conferences, including the International Conference held in Human Rights at Kathmandu, Nepal, International Conference on Human Rights at New South Wales University, Sydney, Australia, and International Conference jointly organized by Vienna University, Austria, and City University, Hong Kong. In 2019, he was conferred the Best Academician Law by the Indian National Bar Association, New Delhi. He is an erudite expert in jurisprudence, constitutional law, and administrative law, and his work in these fields are recognized in national and international fora. His research papers and his recent book on the jurisprudence of legal theory is widely read in the academic circuit. Professor Dilip Uke also serves as the honorary patron of the Center for Research in Air and Space Law, established by him. So I welcome Professor Uke in this program, who has given the time during his busy schedule, and he was busy since morning. So I welcome you once again, and I thank for giving me the opportunity to share your thoughts here in the seminar which we are holding for a World Day for International Justice. Our keynote speaker, again, she is very busy. Since morning, she was busy in the admission, and still she is busy. So without taking much time, I'm just going through some of the points which Professor Shruti Bedi has to her credit. Professor Shruti Bedi, PhD, is a professor at the University Institute of Legal Studies, Panjab University, Chandigarh. She is an international fellow, National Institute of Military Justice, Washington, D.C., USA. She is visiting professor, Faculty of Law, Universitas Airlangga, Indonesia. Professor Bedi is member, Executive Council, India International University of Legal Education and Research, Goa, India. She is director, Center for Constitution and Public Policy, UILS, Panjab University, and also former coordinator, Center for IS, Panjab University. She has published 7 books, and she is the author of 2 books on terrorism, Our World and Our Laws, and second is the Indian Counter-Terrorism Law by LexisNexis. And she is also co-authored 5 books on arrest and detention in India, law, procedure and practices, published by Safe Publications. Then Judicial Review Process, Parts and Problems by Cambridge University Press. Taking bail seriously, state of bail jurisprudence in India by LexisNexis, and law and media and the electoral system. Her areas of research include specific issues of rights under comparative public law, constitutional law, internal security law, and organized crimes. She has published more than 78 articles in journals, books, blogs, and newspapers, and she has lectured and interacted with faculties from England, Canada, USA, Brazil, Australia, Japan, Vietnam, and Indonesia. She is regularly invited for international and national lectures, media debates, and panel discussion. She has been invited for lectures at the Nottingham University and Nottingham Trent University, UK, University of Toronto, Canada, University of Ottawa, Canada, Pontifical Catholic University Rio, Brazil, Universitas Erlangga, Indonesia, Universitas Ubaya, Indonesia, and Ho Chi Minh City University of Law, Vietnam. She has been awarded with recognition as the Phenomenal She 2022 by the Indian National Bar Association, New Delhi, which acknowledges 100 women annually for their contribution in various fields like art, literature, law, etc., etc. She has also delivered a TEDx talk on justice, the first promise. So, without wasting much time, I am very, very thankful to you, Professor Shruti Bedi, for giving us the time to share your thoughts with our delegates in this national seminar. And I welcome you that you have given us the time out of your busy schedule. Thank you so much, Sonali.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I hope I'm audible to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That was an extremely long introduction, but I'm happy, I'm honored, and it's a privilege for me to be speaking at such an occasion in front of two so very eminent people, Professor Uke, who's there in person, I believe, and of course, Professor Preeti Saxena, who has invited me for this particular momentous occasion of celebrating the Day for International Justice. And I hope I can do justice, even if it's a little bit with what I have to share. So I have a small PowerPoint that I would like to share with you. I hope this is visible.
Yes, yes, yes. It is visible.
Okay, thank you. It was very fascinating to actually read the theme of the seminar, which was focusing more on the aspect of social justice and how to overcome barriers and unleash opportunities. The reason being that this is probably, this specific kind of justice has been our journey since our fight began for the independence and for the constitution of a law, a document which would be the grunt norm for this country. I mean, the Indian Constitution of 1950. When we speak of the Constitution of India, the entire Constitution focuses on the principles which promote justice. And here I would like to draw your attention to what Martin Luther King Jr. has said. And it's very interesting because he says that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And you know, we, the people of this country, we are standing on the precipice of this long and incredible journey, which began in 1950 with the commencement of the Constitution of India. We are not here only to be the practitioners of law, but we are the agents of change. And we create those kind of laws which make us accountable and move us towards justice. Each and every day, the action that we take, the decision that we make, the judgment that we think is right, we can help bend this moral arc of the universe towards justice. So that is something which I found was very fascinating when we speak of social justice. And since we are here talking of social justice, I cannot help but bring to your attention the very person who is instrumental and who is the spirit behind the concept of social justice. I'm speaking of Baba Saheb, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. And he, I would like to quote, he said, "So long as you do not achieve social liberty, whatever freedom is provided by the law is of no avail to you. He has been the hallmark of social justice, a social reformer, an educationist, a visionary, a man with the brilliance and the intellect and the humanity, the spirit that he had, which he imbued the entire constitution and the beginning of that constitution for us. And as I was reading various, books and writings on Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, as well as writings written by him, I have found something which has been truly his, his focus of his life. It was not only the struggle for the independence against the British rule, but the struggle began after the commencement of the Constitution, which was the struggle for social emancipation, for the elimination and for the replacement of the unequal social order. And he particularly felt sympathetic towards those people, the downtrodden, those people who had faced historical injustices, and he wanted to correct those fundamental wrongs. And the Constitution of India, according to him, is a product of those very struggles. And that is why he's also able to bring out the transformational character of the Constitution of India. Because this constitution represents the aspirations of those people who were actually denied what should have been available to every person who belonged to the category of we, the people of India. Granville Austin, the famous jurist, has called the Constitution of India a social document. And he says the Indian Constitution is first and foremost a social document. And he says this commitment towards social change is reflected in Part 3 in the form of fundamental rights, as well as Part 4, which is the directive principles of the state policy, or which he rather names as the conscience of the Constitution. Well, we cannot deny and we cannot dispute that the real soul of the Constitution is Part 3 and Part 4. And both these parts are so very reflective of the social concept of social justice. Each and every provision of these two parts, along with the preamble, reeks of social sensitivity to those people who have not had it fair for times immemorial in this country. And it is this commitment to social justice that has brought about a remarkable change in the country that is India. The concept of equality, which seeks to remove the discrimination which is led to the disadvantage faced by certain groups. Particularly, I would focus on 3 groups. It is based on sex, based on religion, and caste. Particularly, these 3 parameters have been the sites of disadvantage faced by so very many people who have been marginalized and oppressed in our country. Along with Article 14, 15.1 and 16.1 deal with it, and they seek to help us overcome the disadvantage that these people have been facing. And of course, when we speak of gender, religion, and caste, the 3 most important parameters on the basis of which social justice has been denied to certain groups. Those groups include women, children, the scheduled caste, and the scheduled tribes. And here today, I want to take you through a few cases, which I'm sure that all of you are aware of already. But this is reflective of the fact of the remarkable change which the Constitution of India has brought about, has led to overcoming the barriers, and has led to the promotion of social justice. Reservation has provided and uplifted the downtrodden. manifold in our country. But besides that, there have been certain other fundamental changes. We have had the right to social and economic justice being declared as a fundamental right way back in 91 in CECEC versus Subhash Chandra Bose case, and then the right to education being considered as an essential ingredient of a dignified life, both in Mohini Jain and Unikrishnan cases in 92 and 93. Then we have the right to a clean environment and the right to live with dignity while talking of the practice of bonded labor. The right against sexual harassment of women at workplace and the timely medical treatment being the right of every human being in this country. Now, while going through all the kind of discrimination which has been faced by so many people in our country, and the three institutions which have particularly faced this kind of discrimination and have been denied social justice in one form or the other, it is the caste-based, it is gender-based, and it is religion-based. Any aspect which has been, now this discrimination is not only meted out by the state. I would like to share something which is of importance with you, that it is not only the doing of the state and it is not only the doing of individual people or a group of people, but it is through the social institutions of a patriarchal society. When we talk of gender discrimination, it is the social institutions where certain people are considered as inferior castes. It is therefore not something that the state is discriminating against. You see why I am highlighting this? Because fundamental rights, as you all are aware, are available only against the state. But this kind of discrimination is not meted out by the state, but it is to be protected by the state. And, lately I have sort of come to an observation, which I've been observing over the last few years, particularly after 2018, that the focus of the attention of the Indian society along with the Indian judiciary has moved towards the gender discrimination. And one of the first and foremost places that I want to start with is the Sabrimala judgment of 2018. How that judgment came to promote social justice, which was denied to a community of women aged between 10 and 50 who were not allowed to enter the sanctum sanctorum of the Sabrimala temple because Lord Ayappa, who was considered to be a celebrate and a brahmacharya, would not, it was said that there would be a deviation from his celibacy and austerity if women between the age of 10 and 50 entered or came within his presence. And I have taken out a paragraph here from the judgment delivered by the five famous judges, but this is a part delivered by Justice present CGI, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud. And he says that the assumption in such a claim is that a deviation from the celibacy and austerity observed by the followers would be caused by the presence of a woman. And such a claim cannot be sustained as a constitutionally sustainable argument. Its effect is to impose the burden of a man's celibacy on a woman and construct her as a cause for deviation from celibacy. To suggest that women cannot keep the vrat is to stigmatize them and stereotype them as being weak and lesser human beings. And a constitutional court such as this one must refuse to recognize such claims. I want to highlight what happened with this Sabrimala judgment. What aspect of social justice was promoted when this judgment came to be delivered? The aspect was the removal of the patriarchal sense in the society which wanted to subjugate women, that it was which had promoted this aspect, this thought process that the presence of women is the reason for a man losing his celibacy. Now, that presumption and that kind of patriarchal order was overturned through this very important moment of the Sabrimala judgment in 2018. And this then laid the groundwork for further promotion of social justice in other ways and in other forms. And we see that today in the new talking points of social justice, which include, today you have the Supreme Court of India hearing cases which would never have happened before. That is the marriage equality case, where the judgment has been, of course, reserved the same-sex marriage issue, specifically to be dealt with under the Special Marriage Act, which also is a precursor for the promotion of social justice. And the Constitution of India being a base to providing that transformation from a stereotypical thought process to a new social order, which is reflective of the desires, the aspirations of the people of society today. The people who are fitting into the category of we, the people of India. Abortion. Recently, as we are all aware, last year in the United States of America, abortion, the Roe versus Wade judgment was overturned. And it was a dark moment for the history of that very progressive country. Why? Because they went back to the time where they took away social justice from the people, from the women, a woman's right to bodily autonomy. But the same was recognized and given a huge push by the Supreme Court of our country, which has taken the right to bodily autonomy of women further by allowing unmarried women the right to decide whether they want to go ahead with an abortion or not. We are today talking of horizontal reservation for transgenders. I don't think anyone could have even thought of something like this happening anywhere at all. I mean, it's a tremendous moment that we need to celebrate. And I again go back to what Martin Luther King has said, that bend the moral arc of the universe towards justice. And here we see that bend happening. Here we see the society demanding justice for every section, whether you're in the minority because you belong to a certain religion or you belong to a certain gender. It is your right to seek justice, again, under the Constitution of this country, which is a remarkable document, which is a remarkable promoter of social justice in our country. We have also had the issue being dealt with of increasing the legal age of marriage for women, bringing out the equality criteria for women, not subjugating them, not relegating them to the past era where the patriarchal order demands their subjugation at various levels. We have also had the Supreme Court trying to ensure that even in the army, which has been the domain of men, that gender equality should be practiced even in that domain. So Babita Punia's case, a remarkable judgment again, and a momentous incident in the history of our country, in the history of the Constitution of India, where the Supreme Court, where the judges of this country have overcome the barriers and promoted this concept of social justice. The entire edifice of the Constitution of India is the basis on which the concept of social justice is based. The preamble talks of justice, social, economic, and political. Ranveer Austin spoke in commendable thoughts of the Indian Constitution as being a social document. It was not without reason. It was with some substance that we came to this point where we said And we thought that it was through this document, through the Constitution of India, that India could attain social justice. And I, ladies and gentlemen, I stand here today to commend Professor Preeti Saxena for actually choosing this topic, because this is the topic that we are talking of today. This is the topic that people want to discuss, debate, and reach conclusions. This is the topic which is the need of the hour. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been indeed an honor and a privilege to be here and to talk about such a beautiful and a sensitive issue, which has actually allowed me to express myself on something which was so momentous. Thank you, everyone, for having me.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for this enlightening words of wisdom from your end. I would like to, since ma'am was deliberating a very nice lecture, so I was trying to jot down a few points in which I have jotted down. Like she has talked about the roots of discrimination, where she has pointed out 3 points like sex, religion, and caste as the roots of discrimination. She has basically dealt with the judgment of Shabrimala judgment as the most discriminatory thing that took place in the Temple of Kerala. And she has she has basically jotted down 5 points which are the new talks of social justice these days. She has jotted down same-sex marriage, abortion, horizontal reservation to transgender, legal age of marriage for women, gender equality in the army, and these are actually the main core issues that Indian society is dealing these days. She has also dealt upon the thought-provoking idea of Glanville Austin, where he has said that Indian Constitution is a social document in order to correspond all the discrimination, the social discrimination that we are having, and eradicate a kind of imparities that we are having, and bring social equality, social parity at different genre, at different levels. So, with these words, ma'am, thank you so much for enlightening us, for enriching us over this sensitive issue of social justice. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, I would like to invite our director, Professor Preeti Saxena, for her address and to welcome our chief guest. Ma'am, please.
As you all know that we are commemorating the World Day for International Justice. And the theme which is chosen by us is that overcoming barriers and unleashing opportunities for social justice. Social justice is a very broad term that includes many things. And in that social justice, as we were having this seminar since morning, so different aspects have been spoken by various presenters that includes not only social justice but the areas which cover under the social justice, be it economic justice, be it political justice. Which were made since morning, those were relating to different aspects, and the speakers, they have spoken on the transgender issues as a part of the social justice, women issues as a part of the social justice, like gender justice, gender inequality. They have also spoken about the rights of the child and how they'll get the justice. They have spoken on the prison reforms also, that whether the prisoners, they are getting social justice or not, because these are the different ideas which have been presented by many of the presenters, including the environmental justice and cyber justice also. In the present era, we are talking about the artificial intelligence, and in that, how to go about that. It may be available to everyone. So many of the aspects have been chosen by the presenters since morning, and we got at a short notice many of the papers and abstracts, particularly from different parts of the country, that is from West Bengal, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Bihar, Uttarakhand, UP, Rajasthan, and many of the states has been represented by the speakers here in this. And we have chosen both hybrid mode, online and offline, in this seminar. And, due to some of the technical glitch, the chief guest of this program, Professor Dept, who is the Vice Chancellor in the Maharashtra National Law University, Mumbai, he's trying to join, but as we all know that this is not in our hands, and how to go about all these things, this will remain something which we cannot overcome in this type of the hybrid program. It would be, if it would be the offline program only, then we will have our guest in this seminar hall. But because he has to join online, and still we are waiting for his joining, because once he joined but could not continue with that joining, and he has to leave because of some technical glitch. So we are just waiting for him, and in between, if there is any point which the members who are sitting over here, if they want to give their opinion on the point, then they are most welcome, and we can continue with the vetting of our chief guest of the program in this seminar. So, can I call any one of you from this seminar hall? Anyone who would like to present, or should we conclude? Like, if there is any question from the viewer side, they can also ask any of the questions on the topic and the papers which have been presented in the morning session. If there is anything which can be asked by, they can also ask any of the questions. So the forum is yours now. If there is anyone, they can raise their hand here, and we can allow them. If there is any question, they can raise their hands and we can allow them. Because once we talk about the social justice, and we see the Constitution of India, that is the supreme lex. So this is also one of the signature tone of the Constitution, which we find spread over many of the provisions in the Constitution, starting from the very preamble to part third and part fourth as such. So many topics are there. Someone, if you want to ask any question, yes, please go ahead. Someone Upadhyay, he has been an alumni of the DHR. If you want to ask something, you can go ahead, please.
Ma'am, pranam ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Feel good. Yeah.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I couldn't join earlier. Recently, and so I'm not aware about the conversation that on what the issue it is going on.
It is on
So
social justice. It is on social justice, and we are commemorating the World Day for International Justice. So, if there is
okay,
anything which you want to see, that how there are opportunities through which we can achieve the social justice. If any of the idea that is coming to your mind, then we can go ahead with that. Because as we all know, and while you are a student, you all must have studied like the preamble, which speaks of the justice as the first preambular objective, which speaks about the social justice at number 1. So in that way, if there is any question that whether we are able to achieve that social justice, and what are those means through which we are achieving the social justice, what are those programs and policies of the government of India, and we can always ask the questions. So Ajit Kumar Dubey is also raising the hand.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Please go ahead if there is any question.
Ma'am, I want to ask that in achieving social justice, freebies culture is how helping to achieve social justice in with regard policies.
Yes, please. You are mute. Ajit Kumar Dubey, you are mute, Peter.
मैम सोशल जस्टिस को अचीव करने में फ्रीबीज कल्चर जो पॉलिसी है गवर्नमेंट की वो कहाँ तक हेल्प करती है सोशल जस्टिस को अचीव करने में?
गवर्नमेंट की तो बहुत सी पॉलिसीज हैं. आप किसी एक पर्टिकुलर पॉलिसी की अगर बात कर रहे हैं, देन वी कैन गिव अ स्ट्रक्चर्ड आंसर टू दैट पॉलिसी. और जहाँ तक बहुत सारी पॉलिसीज की बात है, तो इट डिपेंड्स कि ये किस तरीके से कहाँ तक पहुँच रही है. Because the laws are there, policies are there, programs are there, and the basic purpose is that just to achieve those things. And whatever is being given, that to all of persons, all the persons in India, that is social justice. So policies are there. It depends on how we are achieving that. So there are various modes also. बहुत सारे ऐसे तरीके हैं जिससे कि वो हमें मिल रही है. अगर हम बात करते हैं सोशल जस्टिस को इकोनॉमिक लेंस से देखने के लिए, अगर हम बात करते हैं सोशल जस्टिस को सोशल लेंस से देखने के लिए, then the constitution itself provides many of the provisions in part 3 as well as in part 4. तो पार्ट 3 और पार्ट 4 जो हमारा सुप्रीम एलेक्स का है, अगर हम फंडामेंटल राइट्स की बात करें, then equality clause is totally based on that social justice. And besides that, part 4 that speaks of the directive principles of the state policy, then you know many of the provisions also provides for how to achieve the social justice. those programs को policies को provisions को लेके बहुत सारे acts भी बने हैं हमारे, whether it is related to the child rights, it's related to the women rights, it is related to the disabled, or it is related to the SC/STs upliftment or senior citizens. So all these things which are there as a part of the social justice. So the parliament has enacted many of these laws, and by virtue of those laws, the people, they are trying to get social justice. Yes, anyone?
Yes, ma'am. May I ask a few things, ma'am?
Sure.
Ma'am, as much as my understanding is that we cannot separate social justice from the economic justice, and if we have to think about how to dispense social justice to all, then we have to do something in terms of providing the economic justice, and all these things are interrelated. If we see towards the disparity which is persisting in the society and causing some social segregation, it is just because of the economic disparity. So in order to tackle this problem, there are number of government schemes and number of NGOs are working in this perspective. So nowadays what is happening, the government schemes which are there for the economic empowerment of the downtrodden people or the vulnerable groups, they are not working properly, and eventually that is not happening to bring the social justice in true sense. If we talk about the equal participation or the reservation of the women in the panchayats or in some other local bodies, then women are not too much actively coming forward because they are the male dominant society. They are capturing and they are holding as the Pradhan Pati or the Sarpanch Pati. They are working on their behalf. One thing. Second thing, what I see here, ma'am, that the schemes which are being run for the economic upliftment of the women, they are not able to catch all those things or cater all those facilities or benefits until and unless they are not being assisted by some male person of their family. So all these things which we are looking here, how we can make the women motivated that they can come forward by themselves and they can cater all these benefits, man. One thing, and in solution, what I'm seeing that there are government schemes for the better education of the girls, and when they will grow up, then definitely they will be able to cater themselves. But right now, what can be done more in these sectors, ma'am?
Thank you, Saman, for a very good question, because we all know that policies are there, programs are there, government laws, regulations, everything is there. And so far as the disparity is concerned, we all know, and that's why you see in the original constitution, Article 15, Clause 3, that provides for the special provisions can be made for women and children particularly. As you told that there is a provision for reservation in the panchayat system also, and for that, if you see the legislation from the Haryana, then you will find that how the things have been in order to favor the women. That is also there. But the point is that if one has to come forward, one has to think about that uh, whether he or she is getting that justice for herself or not, whether he or she that got the opportunity because of these various programs, whether that has to be taken into consideration by that female or not, by herself or not. So basically, this is the choice of the women herself, that what she want to do, because policies are there, and what
Yes,
shall
ma'am.
be the modus operandi, that is very
Yes, ma'am.
important. And in the
Yes, ma'am.
society, we know that 50% reservation is there, and we all know that in women and men, 50% ratio is there. But still, the women has to face many of the obstacles to get the
Yes, ma'am.
opportunities and to get the success. But still, we are seeing that there are many of us, they are coming forward by virtue
Yes,
of
ma'am.
opportunities which are being given in the shape of many of these rules, regulations, and policies, etc.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
if
Yes, ma'am.
it is like that, then we can hope that something is better than nothing. Women are coming so
Yes, yes,
much,
ma'am.
they are having this opportunity, and once they will get the opportunity, they will of course get the success also. So
Yes,
there
ma'am.
is no doubt about that. And you see what was there before 20 years or 30 years. So the things
Yes,
have
yes, ma'am.
improved now. And we can see that in future also the things will be improved. Laws are there.
Yes,
So there is
yes,
no
ma'am.
problem. Plenty of laws are there. So there is no problem as such.
Yes, ma'am. It will take some time, ma'am, in fact. And with the course of time, things will change. Yes,
So
ma'am.
thank you so much. And now I am very happy that after a very busy schedule of our chief guest, Professor Dilip Okeji, he has joined the session. And Professor Dilip Oke, he is the Vice Chancellor of the Maharashtra National Law University, Mumbai. And before joining MNLU Mumbai, he served as the Pro Chancellor and briefly as the Acting Vice Chancellor of SRTM University, Nanded, Maharashtra. Originally professor of law and head of the department in law department, Pune University also. And Professor Uke has served many national bodies like UGC, NAC, UPSC, and many of the state public service commissions for the appointment at the civil servants and the judicial members in the judiciary also through the public service commissions. Professor Uke has been appointed as the visiting research fellow by New South Wales University, Sydney, Australia, and awarded UGC fellowship to visit France. And as an invited speaker, he has also spoken at numerous international conferences, including the international conference held at the university in Kathmandu, Nepal, the international conference on human rights at New South Wales video. Australia, and international conference jointly organized by Vienna University, Austria, and City University, Hong Kong. So as I am seeing that Professor Uke has joined once again, but as I see that he is not here in the list now, and perhaps he is not able to continue with this technical problem. Actually, he is on his way to somewhere, and due to his busy schedule, he couldn't reach this proper place where he could get very good Wi-Fi connection, and that's why perhaps there is some problem in joining. Again, he's trying to join, and we have to wait for 2-3 minutes for his joining.
It is my proud privilege to invite our chief guest for the event, Professor Dilip Uke, Honorable Vice Chancellor, MNLU Mumbai, to address the gathering with his words of wisdom. So please.
Sir, you have to unmute yourself. Yes.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are on your way, perhaps. I could see you.
So sorry for delay. It is heavily raining here, and I am on my way back to the university. I do not know what time the link network will be disrupted.
Yes.
So Professor Preeti, Saxena madam, and all of colleagues, faculty members, and dear participants, very good evening to all of you. And sorry for I was occupied with my prior meeting. At the outset, I wish you all a very happy International Day of. Am I audible properly?
Yes, yes. Your
Hello.
voice is breaking, but your voice is breaking, sir. But yes, you are audible.
Because madam, it is raining.
Yes.
That's why we're traveling also. So, dear friends, this day is being celebrated as the International Day of Justice. Since the inception of human species, the notion of justice came into existence, as we are aware about it. However, with the evolution of human being, as well as the changes which have had occurred in then all social, economic, political lives of the people, then certain discriminations, certain violences, inequalities went on, and thereby the notion of justice has come in a kind of a different form. As we know that the Indian Constitution also recognizes the notion of justice, social, economic, political. The preamble of the Constitution provides for that justice, social, and economic and political. We do understand the aspect of justice from the point of view of either Aristotelian notion of corrective justice or Rawlsian model of justice. We talked about primarily from social justice point of view, and his primary principle, which he calls it as a difference principle, greatest benefit to the least advantageous person. And then either Amartya Sen or all other jurists, they did talk differently about the notion of justice. But first and foremost, what do we understand as justice as such? If you look at the notion of justice, it has multidimensional facets, wherein Each and every individual human being must be in a position, must be able to lead his or her life as a human being with human dignity and respect. That is what the primarily concern of the notion of justice. The inception of documents at international level, right from Magna Carta, Bill of Rights, to Universal Declaration of Human Rights, then covenants, civil and political, then economic, social, cultural, and all other declarations, conventions. They all together try to form, encapsulate amongst them as the notion of justice. As we do understand the notion of social justice, wherein, as I've said, you are also aware, of course, that our Rawlsian model of justice, which deals with primarily about the social justice. The deprived sections of the society, either based on color, caste, creed, region, religion, they have to be bring at par with the rest of the society. And what are the measures which are required are initially and primarily to be undertaken by the state, moreover the social welfare state. The notion of justice also differs from the nature or structure of the state as it exists. If it is a democratic state wherein the rule of law exists, the notion of justice would be somewhat better and different. Whereas if it is not a democratic state, it is a dictatorial one.
I think that once again he has lost the connection. So जाओ सोनाली खत्म करो वोट ऑफ थैंक्स के लिए उठाओ बोलो खत्म उनको थोड़ा ब्रीफ कर दूँ तो बोले और बता भी देना कि ये दो नहीं पढ़ रहे
Due to the network issues, we are not able to connect with sir right now at this moment. The connection is losing, so I think we should go ahead with the program. So in the series of that event, after hearing the profound mantras from our esteemed keynote speaker and chief guest, our chief guest was telling us about the concept of social justice, where he has pointed out the social idea, the social justice formula adopted by Rawls, Aristotle, and then he has also tried to sum up the constitutional mandates which talked about social justice and empowering the social unempowered categories of the societies and bringing parity through the constitutional formula. So with these words, now I would like to invite our Director Madam, Professor Preeti Saxena, to present vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, Sonali. So, since morning we were having this seminar and there were many deliberations. But the main thing is that first of all, I would like to thank the Honorable Vice Chancellor of the university, because of whom we could be able to conduct and organize this one-day seminar. So I just thank to Professor Sanjay Singh, Vice Chancellor of Baba Saheb Bhimrao Ambedkar University. Though he is busy in some of the other program also, but he has sent his wishes for this program for its grand success. So I thank Professor Sanjay Singh and the Vice Chancellor of our university. The programs in our university have been organized by a standard organization committee, and this standing organization committee chairperson, Professor K.L. Mahawar, who is the patron of this program also. So I thank Professor Mahawar for allotting this topic to us, so to commemorate the World Day for International Justice. And we have conducted this seminar because of Professor K.L. Mahawar, who has given this opportunity to us to go for this program. I heartily thank Professor Dept, the chief guest of the program. Due to his busy schedule, he couldn't join properly. However, he tried to join and have given some of the basic points which are very, very important and crucial for this social justice. Though he could speak long, but because of the technical glitch, he couldn't speak. But nevertheless, I thank Professor Dept for his address as the chief guest of this program. I thank Professor Shruti Bedi, the keynote speaker for this session. She was also very busy since morning for admission in the Panjab University, but she has given up some time to us and delivered her thoughts on many of the issues which are related to the social justice and the theme how it has to be overcome, the barriers of this social justice which is to be achieved by every one of us being the member of the society. I thank our own Dean, School of Legal Studies, Professor Priti Misra, who is also on leave today, but she has joined and welcomed all the members in this national seminar. I thank our colleagues, Dr. Rashwet, Shrinkhal, and Dr. Sonali, and Professor Sanjay Kumar Chadda, who have chaired many of the technical sessions, offline and online, both in the morning sessions. And I also thank my staff, Atik and Kamruddin, for their technical support for this program. And I thank all the presenters, delegates, and those who have joined online and offline for making the success of this program. So with all, I thank each one of us for this seminar. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.